yeah, we were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Well, hello. Welcome everybody to the Plebian Racing Inaugural GT4 season finale. I am back and tired from the gym. Looking forward to broadcasting to all of you today. In qualifying, just going over where everybody is. We got Eric Diaz with, let's go ahead and switch this to personal best for everyone. We got Eric Diaz setting the pole with a pole time at 2:18 flat. Wow, that's flying. Peter O'Brien at 2:18 almost 2. Jeremy Mercer at 2:18.3. Dean Solomon at 2:19. So there's a bit of a gap between these drivers, but there's luckily someone right behind him at with Ilpo in 5th at 2:19.9. Juan Carres and Gavin Moore, Don WN, all looking pretty close. So it just looks like it's going to be a few packs in this race. Everyone's split up, but should be some good racing. So now that we are at the end of qualifying and we're about to get a formation lap going on, let's go ahead and switch it over, get us the pole sitter in the chat. Eric Diaz.
Yes.
Welcome to the commentators booth. Congratulations on pole.
Thank you. Did what I could. It was a bit slidey, a bit messy, but it was put together, and it was a complete lap.
If it wasn't a bit slidey and a bit messy, conditions were a little bit better, how fast do you think you would have been able to go on a optimum track? Because 2:18
is definitely going to be happening for sure. Maybe a 16. I don't know. I was doing at least 17.5, 17.6s on a good lap on the dry. So
that is flying. Wow.
Yeah, I have no idea how I got that. And then yesterday I just changed the setup a bit, added a bit extra wing, and then all of a sudden, chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Well, it's going to be raining. I feel like you're looking forward to that being in the KTM.
It definitely helps the KTM, but also helps the Alpine just as much. So
with
a close match, no matter what I do.
And with 2 Alpines right behind you, do you feel the pressure?
As long as they don't get me in the straight, I'll be fine. But that's easier said than done. The KTM.
It is a lot easier said than done. Um, so, what are you expecting to see from this race?
Track limit. A lot of track limit.
Track limit. Alrighty, Eric. Well, congratulations again on pole. Uh, as I've been instructed, I will not wish you good luck for this race. Apparently I am bad luck, so have a race.
Yes. I will break a leg for you.
Thank you. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I actually do need that.
You do need that. All right, we'll break a leg.
Okay.
All right, see you, Eric. I'm gonna throw you back to the championship race chat. And that was Eric Diaz. Again, just going through the grid. We have Eric Diaz, our pole sitter. Peter O'Brien in second. In the Rainbow Dash Alpine, we have Jeremy Mercer. And there goes the car. We have Jeremy Mercer in the stock Alpine livery. Dean Solomon in what I believe is a Audi flying. Ilpo directly behind, and don't ask me what car. Juan Carres in the Porsche. Gavin Moore directly behind in the BMW. Don Debian in the Porsche as well. Wait, he's in the Porsche? Don Debian in the Porsche. Mike Middleton in the McLaren. James Leader in the Camaro, the most enjoyable GT4 out of them all. Mike Middleton looking like he got a little slide. That's going to round out our top 10. And a P11, you got John Crane in the Camaro. Let's go Camaro. Kurt Moss, who is in the pits in the Aston Martin. Not the strategy I think he's looking for. Nico in the Porsche behind, also in the pits. And then our safety car, Luke Baumeister, in the 420 Plebian Racing CEO of Pace safety car. Back to the front. Peter thinks it's green, green, green. But it is formation, formation, formation. I don't know where he went off to. Let's go check. He is waiting up, probably trying to warm up his brakes down the straight. In the rain, I imagine they are getting quite cold. We're just kind of watching these cars go around doing their formation lap. Let's see what we got going on. COTA is a F1 racetrack. And besides F1, which a lot of people know it for, they do a lot of different series here. I've seen Skip Barber race here. IndyCar has raced here. They've not gone back since, I want to say 2019, but don't quote me on that one. But yeah, IndyCar raced here. NASCAR currently races here. I saw the GT World Challenge obviously races here, as it is on this game. On top of that, I've just seen a bunch of different racing here, and it almost always produces quality racing. It's a great, very technical and tricky track. Not everybody's favorite, not everybody's cup of tea, and I understand that. But for me, COTA just has a special place. Being the only American track on the calendar for a while, now we have Miami, or on the F1 calendar for a while, but now we have Miami, and we're about to have Vegas. But it's been nice to have an American track and a place I can look forward to seeing. This is also where I saw my first F1 race. So just in general, COTA is a special place. I will tell you from experience, walking around this track is anytime during, I believe October is when the race was. It is hot, hot, hot. It's a 3.4 mile circuit, so it takes a while, and 20 turns on it. And that turn 1, you do not realize how steep that is until you see it in person. But we have the drivers getting ready to start coming down the pit straight. Not coming down the pit straight. Now coming down the pit straight. I think. Oh. Getting ready. Here we go with Diaz, O'Brien, Mercer. Green, green, green. And it looks like the Alpine has the better start coming up on the side of Diaz. You're going too wide into T1. But you see Mercer looking to see what he can do to get involved. And Mercer gets hit. Diaz gets hit almost into O'Brien. A little bit of contact. Everybody looks like they made out of that fine. I think Gavin Moore gave Mercer a little bump. And there's a three-person fight for the lead going on right now. O'Brien fighting with Mercer, trying to do everything he can to hold on position. And Mercer gets a little loose. But now O'Brien putting pressure on Diaz. Going through the Yesies, one of the best parts about this track. Yes, Carson, you did miss it, and O'Brien gets a little loose, but it looks like he grips back up. Not the best start for him, but across the field there is a lot going on. I want to jump and follow with somebody else, but Peter just keeps putting all the pressure on Diaz. Going down to this back straight is going to be where we're going to see all the overtakes, as it's tricky to pass on COTA, and I'm expecting to see the Alpine put some pressure on the KTM. See Peter trying to get as much of an advantage as he can down the straight, but it looks like Diaz got the better exit, the better traction. He got everything he needed, and it looks like he's going to be able to stay ahead. Meanwhile, Dean Solomon directly behind Gavin Moore, looking to see if he can make a move. Moore on the brakes. Solomon looking to see if he can go outside behind Mike Middleton, right next to Ilpo, overtaking Ilpo on the outside. Dean Solomon still trying to get a move done on Gavin Moore, trying to take the inside line. Juan Carr is making a move in the back. Gavin Moore goes wide. Dean Solomon gets the move done. Mike Middleton overtaking. Looks like Ilpo as well will be overtaking this car of Gavin Moore. No, he doesn't get it. Let's see. Peter O'Brien just swapped with Jeremy Mercer. They're fighting it out for P2 right now, letting Diaz get a chance to pull away, and Mercer overtakes, taking P2. Clean move from Mercer. Inside of the corner on the outside of the next, but Peter O'Brien's not done. Fighting too wide, going through the corner. We're seeing Mercer look. He has the inside for the next corner, trying to outbrake Peter, but Peter's just a little bit later, getting the better run, but he goes wide, giving Mercer the opportunity to keep it, to keep P2 inside of the next corner. Come on. Clean move from Mercer. P2, what a pass between these two. Let's ride on board with Peter. You just cannot see through this rain, as he looks to see what he can do, see if he can make a move, as there's now a 1.5 second gap between these drivers. Or between second and first. Oh, Peter slides a little. That's not going to help his cause, as you see Dean Solomon in the background starting to close in on Peter through the Essies. Come on, and we're going to switch to watching Gavin Moore and Juan Carres fight it out with Ilpo directly in front. Ilpo's fighting for his life, trying to do everything he can to keep his position, but he has two rather speedy boys directly behind him. The title is wrong. That is correct. Mike Middleton and rookie Fagan switching positions. I don't know what happened to Middleton to bring him all the way down to P11 and 12. I don't know what brought him down to P11, but probably a little bit of a spin. Gavin Moore making a move on the inside of Juan Carres. Going... he has the outside now. Carres on the inside. Looking to see... Come on. Down the straight. Looks like that Porsche top speed is just giving him that little bit of an edge, but can the BMW outbrake him? Let's ride on board, trying to just avoid Ilpo at this point. Running as wide as possible, pushing Carres out. Not the cleanest overtake, but he managed to get it done. P6 for Gavin Moore. Meanwhile, Mike Middleton trying to make a move on Joel Dallas around the outside of the corner. Joel Dallas having to slow down in this rain, a little bit of a slippery track. And Mike Middleton just gets it done clean, simple. That's P10 for Mike Middleton. What happened to James is a phenomenal question, as he is in P14. This is a great moment for us to go ahead and just kind of look at how everything managed to shape out. Looking at the position delta, or looking at the positions, you have Eric Diaz keeping P1, Jeremy Mercer up into P2 from P3, Peter O'Brien down into P3 from P2, Dean Solomon and Ilpo staying the same, Gavin Moore gaining 1 position on Juan Carres, who lost the position this race so far, Don Debian managing to maintain his P8, John Crane up 2 into P9, Mike Middleton down 1 into P10, but the biggest winner of this race so far has been Jake Foucher up 5 spots into P11. Let's see. Let's see, looks like Carres wants to get that position back that he lost this race. It's not working out too well for him. Trying to see what he can do, but it looks like they're right around the same pace, these two drivers. Both of them very experienced behind the wheel, know what they're doing. And Gavin Moore is not going to make it easy for Carres to make a move. But Carres knows that, and he's just trying to force whatever he can, riding behind Moore in that 24 car. It's just, when you're looking at it, it's just too wet. You cannot see a single thing. It's blinding how wet it is. You can suddenly see the Gavin Moore coming into focus as Ilpo and Dean Solomon going at it. Looked like Solomon went a little wide. See, they're fighting it through. Ilpo trying to make a move, but getting a little loose in that Aston Martin. Not working out too well for him. Gavin Moore now pressuring Ilpo directly from behind, and Juan Carres is trying to see if he can get in on it. But Solomon should not be singing his praises yet. It looks like he's not out of it, as Ilpo seems to be closing right back in on Solomon in front. Let's go ahead and ride on board with Ilpo as he's trying to catch Solomon. You see in the rear view just how close all these drivers are. This is a very close fight for P4, and it's so early in the race with 52 minutes left to go. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened to Joel Cars. I'm not quite sure what happened to Joel. That is unfortunate for him. Leader and Fagan making moves. It looks like Fagan went off track a little. Foucher also getting past Fagan. Foucher, who gained 5 positions this race, now losing out to Fagan, as Fagan makes a good move back on Foucher. Going up into T1, can he manage to maintain this? Maybe so. Now he goes a little wide. See, meanwhile, Carres, Dean Solomon, having an experience on track, as he's faster than his internet can handle. He falls back from being in front of Ilpo, Gavin Moore, and Juan Carres, all the way down into P7, probably just trying to play it safe as well as he can. I apologize, everyone, for this delay, but I'm going to work on fixing something for all of you. Come on. Solomon's internet is interesting. Let's see. I apologize for the delay. We're having some technical difficulties right now. I'm trying to get under control. Let's see. Let's see, I'm still trying to get these technical difficulties under control, folks. I'm sorry about that. So what we're going to do instead for the meanwhile is there's a great fight still going on between Carez and Ilpo. So we're just going to go ahead and ride on board with Carez, and Ilpo is still trying to get that move done on Gavin Moore. So let's just look at how wet this track is and be glad we're watching and not driving. As COTA is already hard to stay within the track limits when it's wet. Forget about when it's dry. Forget about when it's wet. Ooh, let's watch from Carez's perspective. Looks like he's starting to close in right here on Moore. Moore struggling in the S's in that BMW. See, let's go ahead and switch on board right now to Ilpo, who is only 4/10 behind Moore, looking to see if he can make a move. Very, very close racing between these drivers. See. I apologize, folks, but I think the technical difficulties are fixed. We should be good to go. Let me just check one more time. There we go. Yes, alright, I have confirmed we are good to go. And wow, there's been a lot of action I've been missing on track as they've still been fighting it out right here. But where I think the most interesting fight of the race going on right now is Mike Middleton on Don Debian for PO. Interesting. As I was saying, Mike Middleton on Don Debian for P8. Dean Solomon still teleporting around. Not really seeming to... His internet, again, not wanting to really keep up with his pace today. See, Middleton has the fastest speed on the straights. I think he's just looking to see what he can get going into this pit straight. Knowing if he can stay close enough to Don, he can make something happen. And it looks like he stayed close enough. Looking to go on the inside into T1. Looks like he has the move on Don secured way before T1 happens. See if Don maybe tries to see if he can make a move back through the Yessies. See, coming out of T1, pretty good exit, but you just see Middleton starting to slowly pull away more and more. Meanwhile, Ilpo within 4/10 of Gavin in front. Just this car... Great speed through the Yessies, and it looks like the BMW is just suffering here. Ilpo looking for any opportunity he can get, but Gavin's just parking his car on the apex, knowing exactly where he needs to put it to make it impossible for Ilpo to have anything happen. Trying to leave Ilpo into the clutches of Juan directly behind, seeing if he can get some pressure off of him by making them fight. So Dean Solomon down into P13. Just like that ping got him, unless he teleports back up. See, down the pit straight. Is this finally where Ilpo gets to make his move on this BMW in front of him? Juan in the Porsche starting to close in on Ilpo, as we see in the rear view. Looks like he has everything he needs, wanting to look for the inside move. Can he outbrake Ilpo? No, he thinks better of it and slots right back in behind. You see Gavin Moore, Ilpo, and Juan Carez still in this battle for P4. It looks like where all the difference is corner entry. Looks like Ilpo's just doing a much better job getting his car to rotate. Imagine that BMW is quite a pain right now. Welcome to the commentator's booth, Carson Schultz. Thank you for joining me as a co-commentator. I appreciate it.
No problemo.
I don't know if you have a different mic, but you sound better.
I have moved my mic to in front of my desk instead of behind my desk.
I didn't realize you could, you know, why haven't you done this sooner?
It's because it's where my keyboard is. I don't have the keyboards on the floor now.
Well, meanwhile, there's still a fight going on. Not really as much of a fight, but Mercer's doing everything he can to hold on to Diaz in front, keeping that within a second and a half. Now at a second gap to P1, just trying to do everything he can. But that KTM, it just loves the rain. So, Carson with the pits coming up. We have 44 minutes remaining in this race. Nobody is yet to pit. Do you think we might get a surprise for the lead of the race?
I think Eric's got this. He's in the right car. He's gonna have really good control the whole time, and it seems like the Alpines don't really have anything for him. But we'll see.
Looks like the Alpines are struggling as you see Peter O'Brien down almost 7 seconds from P2. I wonder if there's a little bit of contact there earlier that we might have missed. But you're right. It's just that KTM is so much better in the rain. But Mercer he's managing to hold it within 2 seconds. And every time it looks like the gap's going to be out of control and Diaz is going to start pulling away from it, you just see Mercer instantly start closing that gap again and just keeping the race competitive. So I'm hoping for him, maybe the pit strategy will work out. He might come into P1 and just get it all to happen. Meanwhile, Ilpo and Juan traded positions.
Can I have the spectator password?
Pleb spec.
Okay.
I will be changing it at the end of the season anyway, so not a big deal.
Great.
As I talk about Mercer, I think I might have cursed him as he is now over her 2 second gap from Diaz in front. Maybe he's trying to push that car a little too hard to keep this race win.
It's raining a lot heavier than I thought it would be. It's probably quite intense out there.
Yeah, looking through we're on board right now with Juan, and it's just trying to see more in front. You can make out the car outline. That's about all you can tell. I would have no way of telling that that's a BMW if it wasn't for the fact that I knew.
I have a feeling if the rain dies out and it becomes a dry track later on in this race, I feel like maybe the Alpines will have the advantage over Eric. So that'd be interesting to see.
Do we have any prediction on what the weather is going to be later in this race?
Rain for the next 30 minutes at least, so I doubt it will go dry, but it might at the very end.
Yeah, we've seen a surprising amount of non-drive-throughs in this race, being wet COTA. I'd kind of expect to see a lot of cars serving some penalties. But
It's weirdly easier to drive wet COTA than it is dry COTA for drive-throughs, like on track limits.
do you think it's just because they're more careful, they're tiptoeing around the track versus trying to get every ounce of speed out of it?
Yeah, I feel like you're naturally going slower on the track anyway, so it's not like you're going to be able to push the car into every corner, and you're just trying to keep the car safe, don't spin it out. That's like the priority.
For me, whenever I drive in the wet, I always want to push the car a little bit more, so I feel like I'm the opposite, because it's like, let me see what I can get this car to do. Whenever I drive in the wet, I also have a tendency to crash. Is it related? I don't know.
I have no clue.
But that's just, for me, I always try to push the car a little more, but it's maybe tiptoeing might be the call. Or
yeah,
not.
And in sector 3 right now, Karras is really making a move on Moore here. He's getting him set up for a good move.
Yeah, he can keep it together. I think he can make the move on the pit straight. He just has to keep it within a 5/10 gap, a half second. Just as long as he can keep it within, but as I say that, he gains some time in a bad way on more in front. Seems like he's struggling in all the wrong corners if he wants to make this move happen.
I think he'll get him on the long straight, the corner before the long straight, or the end of the long straight at this rate. He definitely seems like he has the speed. He just needs to keep it all together.
It's impressive driving from all of these drivers. Like even Ilpo, who's now 2 seconds off, it's just they were driving. It was a 4-person battle for 10-15 minutes in the rain. I don't think I saw any contact. It was all really clean racing. It's just you can tell that these drivers have some seat time.
You know what they say, Dave? There's a first for everything. No contact at the beginning of a race.
Oh, there was definitely contact. I can't. I don't remember who hit Mercer, but someone gave Mercer a little bump in the rump into turn 1. They told him to hurry it up, and that he did, overtaking Peter, moving into P2.
It looks like it's worked out pretty well for him. He's got the fastest time on the track so far, so it was a good bump in the rump.
Yeah, when you're talking about lap times, when you talk about lap times, Mercer flying with a 27.8 in this torrential downpour, only a second off of Diaz in front, but Diaz's best time being a 28.3. I'm wondering if Mercer might have found a little secret to this track, unlocked a little bit more potential from his car, because before that 27.8, which was his last lap, I believe the fastest he went was a 28.2, so it was enough to kind of stay within Diaz's time. But that's blistering fast. That's 0.5 faster than the next fastest lap time.
Yeah, and I know this is kind of irrelevant to the championship whole thing, but as long as Peter doesn't wreck out or, be in the end of the field, he's got the championship won. This is the season finale. That's pretty cool for Peter.
It's awesome.
His only competitor didn't show up.
Nixon?
Yeah.
He is enjoying a wonderful vacation right now, having a great time with his significant other. So I'm happy for him. And not the city I would choose to vacation to, but
where's he at?
I'm not going to reveal that on stream, but
all right.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm more of a I personally, when I go vacation, I like the Boston's, New York's. I like all the Northeast cities. They're really cool. And Atlanta. I love Atlanta. So
you have a weird taste in cities, Dave.
Weird taste in cities.
Yeah.
You like Dallas.
I do not like Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I like Austin. And so we're at right now, in fact. It's great.
COTA is a great track. It's not everyone's favorite, but actually, since we're talking about COTA as a track, let me tell you about the way to get to the track. Oh my, it's miserable.
Oh boy, it is.
It's have you been?
We have both been, yes.
Oh, okay. So then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Single lane road, right?
Yep.
You have a couple 100,000 people coming in for a race, and you're trying to single file everybody down to the racetrack. It's like there's just so much traffic. And for us, when we were trying to leave the circuit, somebody in I want to say it was a Dodge pickup, managed to somehow spin his pickup and put it in a ditch. So one of the single lanes was blocked off. So people could leave, but they couldn't get back. So the exit was fine, but the entrance was blocked, and it was horrible because the towing company couldn't get to the vehicle to tow the vehicle out of the ditch.
Of course.
So
hey, at least the good news is it's close to the airport for people that are flying out and flying in. Gotta give them something.
A track day in Atlanta? Like Road Atlanta?
What?
So I am reading Twitch chat.
Oh.
Oh, almost a little bit of contact right there between Mercer and Diaz. If Mercer found the time, maybe it was T1 as he came in flying and almost touched the rump of Diaz's car.
Do you know if wet tires or new tires make a difference on a wet track?
I think they make a huge difference, but wet tires wear slower. So I don't think it'd be a good strategy call for this race. But if you're talking a more 90-minute race, if you're talking more like 2-hour race, I think you could make a race on one set of wets.
Well, right now, if I'm Mercer, instead of wasting time battling Diaz, why not come in now? Pit window's open, get new tires, get your fuel, come out, have a clean track, and you wouldn't be wasting time sitting behind Diaz.
I'm right with you right there. I would go for the pit strategy, but also I think we've both been there where we're faster than the driver in front, and we just want to overtake them. Like, we know we could beat them in the pits and beat them on the time, but beating them on track just as they say, it hits different.
Especially since we're the ones watching, we definitely want to see him stay out and race this out. But just talking about strategy-wise, what would be the smartest for Mercer to do?
I'm still interested to see how the whole pit debacle ends up playing out, as nobody is pit yet. Everyone's on 0 pits. I think they're all just waiting to see if it might get dry later in the race and try to save their pit for dry tires, which is smart.
Well, it says there's only in the next 30 minutes. It's still going to be raining. There's only 30 minutes left in the race. I think it's a wet race all the way around.
Well, according to my ACC TV, not to tell you you're wrong, but it says the temperature is sunny at 25 degrees Celsius. So, and it says rain info is clear. So, according to
the temperature is sunny.
Oh, that's what it says, and I love it, as this is clearly a very sunny track right now, and
yeah, indeed,
clear skies.
Yeah, the sunny temperature is really nice. I like that temperature a lot.
What are you going to go What are you going to go take for a track day at Road Atlanta? And let me just say, I am jealous. Ooh, Diaz trying to defend on the inside. Mercer might actually have him here.
You can't really pass in the S's. It's not really a really good opportunity to pass. You just need to stay with him and try to get him on the straightaway.
He agreed with you, as he had the speed difference on Diaz, but he just decided to let off the throttle and see if maybe he had the opportunity. The problem is, on all these slow corners, the KTM just has so much more traction than the Alpine. So by the time Mercer starts to close back in on Diaz, it's too late, as there's now a corner and there's no overlap established.
This is why I think just pit now. You'll gain so much time on Diaz, and by the time he pits, you'll be ahead of him. If Mercer does have this pace advantage.
Speaking of pitting, I think we have our first pit stop of the race right now with Mike Middleton serving his pit. You see Kurt Moss directly behind, just kind of relaxing. I don't know what happened to him this race, but unfortunate for him.
Is he not stewarding?
Kurt Moss? No, he is not stewarding.
I thought he's in the pits the whole race.
Peter O'Brien has not served a pit stop, but fell down to P6.
What?
Peter O'Brien, P6.
Oh.
That's
my timing board is not updated yet.
I'm just watching him drive behind Ilpo, and I'm scratching my head trying to understand what must have happened to this poor man. He wasn't close enough with anybody to have an incident, so I don't think it was that. Was it?
It's hard to say. Well, Moore is still have a 5-second penalty, so Brian will be a net P5 still.
I don't think Brian's necessarily worried about those people in front. Diaz going to serve the pit as Mercer stays out. Finally clear air. He can see. I'm sure he is praising his his clear sight, as he's probably like, oh, T1 goes up. Looking, he sees an apex and he realizes that there is a curb there. You know, it's just
Crazy.
that he can finally see without just having a full, just a not pixelated but just wet windshield. Like we've all driven in a downpour. We all know what it's like, and it's yeah. Does not look fun, and I'm sure Mercer is just as happy as can be, 4/10 behind almost every lap, probably seeing what kind of laps he can put in. Do you think he's going to pit this lap, or do you think he's going to try to extend this as long as possible?
You gotta extend it as long as possible. You want the clean air. And also, it looks like Brian, Ilpo, and Karius have all 3 pit together. So it'll be interesting to see how they all blend out.
Yeah, of the people who have served pit stops, you got Ricky Fagan, Mike Middleton, and then all those 4 you just said that are serving pits together. Diaz is out, coming out in P4. As you see John Crane coming by, almost a little bit of contact right there. That was dangerous, but Diaz seems to be fine.
Oh, looks like Peter's gonna jump Karius in the pits, and he's right behind Ilpo.
He made that move stick in the most unexciting way. Congratulations,
Oh, yeah.
Peter. From P6 to P5.
Pure driving skill right there.
Strategy is very important in a race. We all understand that. We also all want to see the overtakes on track. Let's see, Peter. Did any of them take tires? I don't think so. Ooh, that might be a track cut for Peter. Going over those Essies didn't look like that really worked out for him too much.
Yeah, if they're not taking tires, Mercer definitely wants to stay out here, get that fuel as low as possible, have a lighter car, clean air, smooth sailing.
Yeah, I think at this point, Mercer's probably going to do 1 or 2 more laps and then just go ahead and bring it in, hoping the undercut worked. I don't think he's going to push it to the end of the race, but I guess we'll see.
There's no reason, there is no strategical reason to pit early if you're not taking tires, just, we'll see though.
Let's see, Mercer's last was a 28 flat, which I believe was better than everyone else's best lap time. So yeah, Mercer's just chugging it. I think if he keeps this up, 2 more laps, he pretty much has P1 confirmed.
Hey Dave, is this the highest we've seen a Camaro all season? P5?
I want to say yes, but I remember there was some interesting things happening at Watkins with James Leader. I know he was in the top 10. Where in the top 10, I cannot say, but I want to say it was lower end, but he might have been middle of top 10, P5.
He was not, I was there. He was around P8. It is kind of sad though, Dave. Your favorite car, P5, and he hasn't even pit yet.
Hey, P5 and P4. Camaros are having the race, and our head steward has informed me that they have to take tires tonight. It is not an option.
Ah.
Hello, Mike. So Gavin Moore, who served his pit, coming out behind Ilpo, Peter, Juan, and it looks like maybe Mike Middleton. No, not Mike Middleton. But, yeah, he moved down the order quite a bit with a 4-second gap to Juan in front. He's going to be spending his 25 minutes trying to close that as quickly as possible.
I bet it's just a matter of time before Peter gets around Ilpo here. He's just going to keep the pressure on until he gets around.
Looks like that might be the corner he gets it done, as you see Ilpo going a little wide. Peter doing everything he can to keep together, setting himself up for an overtake on that back straight. See, riding on board with Peter, this turn is going to be very influential to see if the overtake can happen. Can Peter keep his speed, get the better exit? He goes for the earlier apex. It looks like Ilpo carried his speed a little bit better through that corner as he's slowly starting to pull away. But Peter in the slipstream, I don't know how important that is in rain, but Peter in the slipstream trying to close it in as much as possible. But in that Alpine, which just does not have that top end, it just did not work out.
Yeah, I mean, there's no rush for Peter. He's obviously faster, and the guy in front of him would be Diaz, and he's way, way ahead. So I don't think Peter's going to get anywhere after this. I think he just needs to take his time and don't wreck again.
What's interesting is Peter is still putting up times that compete with Diaz and Mercer. So it's kind of surprising to see him struggle so much with Ilpo in front, who is almost 2 seconds a lap slower.
It's probably because he's in the corners, he's having to let off and, you know, not crash Ilpo.
Oh, move up the inside of Ilpo. Does he get it done through the corner? No. Ilpo looks like he managed to stay ahead into the next corner, but Peter might try to send it up the inside again. No, thinking better of it. But he looks like he has the speed onto the pit straight. Mike, we also wish you could have made it as well. It's unfortunate, and we like seeing you in the server. But life happens, and we understand that. Let's see, turn one. I don't know. I feel like if Peter can get the move done in the Essies, he should just try and go for it. Because that Alpine, you just don't have that top speed.
But why risk getting into another crash and getting possibly a drive-through? You just need to just take his time, I think. But as long as Ilpo's good on the brakes, he's gonna probably stay ahead. For now, at least, until he makes a mistake.
Maybe. As we're riding on the rear wing of Ilpo's car, just watching Peter look for any move he can get up the inside. We see Peter's, or the outside. We see Peter send it, forcing Ilpo as close in the corner as he can, trying to get the move around. Does he make it stick? Yes, he does. Up into P5 for Peter.
Looks like James got a drive-through, probably for track limits.
James leader in P10 in the Camaro, who will probably fall down into P12. You know, not last.
Yeah, not last. Sure.
Kurt Moss is in the pits, and Luke, who is the safety car driver, is also in the pits, so not last. I will take it.
I wonder why Luke's not driving the Camaro if he's trying to be the pace car. It looks slow enough to be the pace car.
Alrighty, thank you for joining me in the commentator's booth.
Yeah.
Your services are no longer welcome here.
Dang.
I'm just kidding, please don't leave me.
I'll leave you. I just call it how I see it, man. No, I just think this is not a really good track for the Camaro. The other ones are a lot better, for sure. Seems like they're all going to struggle today.
Honestly, I kind of enjoyed the Camaro here. When
you can enjoy it all you want, but it doesn't mean you're fast.
Oh, no, I was running 220, so I definitely wasn't fast. But, I don't know. I felt like I was relatively close to the pace, considering how bad it was here. I feel like the best you can get out of a Camaro is probably a 218. So...
yeah. I feel like it would be a lot better if you could abuse track limits around here. Then you could just ride over all those crazy curbs and get a good lap time.
Right now, Diaz trying to close in as much as he can. He's within 2 seconds from Don, who has yet to pit, running P2. I think... if Don manages to hold up Diaz, you have to pit if you're Mercer and take advantage of it, right?
I think Mercer's still getting the advantage, right? Or... well, no, because Diaz has fresh tires.
Yeah, so I'd go ahead and just serve the pits. And yes, the Big Daddy Camaro is struggling tonight.
Well, the thing is, when you're out there driving, you're not being able to sit down and just stare at the timing board like we are. You're more focused on actually driving. You might not realize the opportunity that you have.
Diaz makes his move on Don. Very clean move on the exit of the corner, around the outside. Just uses that traction of the KTM to beautifully execute his move to take P2 back. I think the question is, what's the average time lost in a pit stop? With Diaz 66 seconds behind, that's going to be the deciding factor.
Looks like James will hold on to P10 after all.
Let's go ahead and watch that Big Daddy Camaro driving around the track. The TV cameras suck in ACC. I got to remember that. As we're seeing that Camaro just do what it can, trying to get around the Essies, just watching it drift. That looks like fun to drive.
Oh, it's definitely drifting.
That reminds me of our 70s stock car race we did at Sebring, where every corner the rear would just kick out, and it was so much fun. Like it wasn't really drifting, but it's just. It was a blast driving the Camaro. Watching it's just reminding me of that 70s stock car race. It's that race is the reason I want to do a Trans Am season eventually.
That is one hard car to drive right now for James.
Yeah, you're watching him just try to get on the throttle right there, and just his car kicks out to the right, and then it looks like he grips up, and then it kicks out to the left.
It looks like he has no traction control. I bet he does, but it just looks like he doesn't.
At this point, it wouldn't really surprise me. Let's see what it looks like from an onboard. Okay. That I don't think I would want to be racing this car right now.
Oh my
but
gosh.
driving it, wow, this really does look like fun.
I don't know if it'd be fun for an hour straight, man. That's gotta be intense.
Well, that's why I said I wouldn't race it, but I would drive this. Actually, that might be what I do after the broadcast ends.
Oh my gosh. No wonder he got a drive through.
There's no way the car's doing this to him, right? This has to be James at this point.
Let's watch another Camaro.
Well, he has to be sitting there. We'll hop to another Camaro in a second, but he has a 70-second gap to the guys in front. James has to just be having a blast, trying to just have as much fun with his car as he can. But like
he is on his own lap, so yeah.
Like you said, let's watch another Camaro. Let's get on board with John Crane.
I think that was just some James shenanigans.
Yeah, Crane looks fine. Yeah, James is just making the car do whatever he wants the car to do.
I think James has turned off his traction control.
Everyone besides P3 and 4 have pit. Oh, and P1 obviously with Mercer up there. Mercer kind of maintaining the gap. All right, P4 coming in as we see John coming in. But Mercer's kind of maintaining that gap with Diaz, not really extending it. Last we checked, it was 66 seconds, about 5 to 10 minutes ago, and now it's at 68. So he's expanding it a little, but not much. Let's see about how long a pit stop takes here at COTA, as we're with John Crane. Let's see. Doop, doop, doop. It's the windshield wipers just doing their job. You see again the Plebian Racing safety car. Do not hit it. The Pro Class 420 car.
Beautiful.
It is, I think, the best car on the grid.
I thought you liked the Camaro. What happened to that?
The best livery on the grid. I take back my statement. You caught me there. I think the season has proven that the Camaro is not the best car on the grid by any metric. Let's see.
Can't believe it came out of your mouth.
As we're still, John's leaving the pits. It's looking like he's at 69 seconds right now. 70 seconds. 72.
Oh, Mercer's in.
3. Mercer is in. Looks like it was around a 70. Looks like it was around a 74-second pit stop for John Crane. So depending on what strategy Mercer has, let's see where he comes out against Diaz, who has been putting in his fastest lap was his last lap at a 28.5.
And Diaz is coming around in sector 3 right now by the tower. It'll be interesting to see how the blend is. I think Mercer will come out ahead, if I had to guess.
With his pace, I wouldn't be surprised, but Diaz has been on these fresh tires. Mercer's going to come out with cold tires, as GT4s don't have tire blankets. So
they're going to have a straightaway between them, I think. Here comes Diaz.
Rounding.
Oh, it's going to be close.
Mercer's exiting pits right now. See, Diaz has the straight line speed advantage on Mercer, who's going around T1. I believe that's Jake Foucher in front of him. Diaz just getting to T1. I don't think the cold tires will be enough to neutralize that gap.
There is a Jake Foucher in the way, though, for Mercer, so it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that.
Well, as the Plebian Racing blue flag rules are not to defend, but not that you have to let the driver by, Jake has no reason, as he's trying to let Mercer by, but now he's just putting his car in the way. He can get very inconvenient for Mercer. But Jake has no reason to have to get out of the way. He just can't defend. So, looks like he kind of did what we needed from the for the commentators to close that gap up just enough.
Oh, Diaz with the drive-through. That's pretty big. That could be great for Peter to get second place back.
A drive-through?
For Diaz.
What did he do?
Probably track limits. He was going through the S's when it happened, so that's exactly what happened, probably.
That stinks.
You know, he's kicking himself right now. He was probably trying to push the car. He knew he had the tire advantage on Mercer for that one lap. Just trying to close that gap as much as possible.
Well, now I'm curious where he's going to come out. Because like you mentioned, Peter might come out victorious from this, but not far behind Peter is Ilpo. Not far behind Ilpo is Juan. And not kind of far behind Juan is Gavin. But not far behind him is Mike. So, serving that drive-through, I'm not quite sure. We've seen that the pit time takes around 40
Oh, Peter with the drive-through as well.
Peter with the drive-through.
Both have a... Oh, that's it for Peter. They're coming together.
Let's see.
Now Peter is kicking himself.
Just trying to understand. I believe Eric Diaz is going to come out behind P8. No. I did that math wrong. He should be coming out behind P6, behind Juan. If he's serving this drive-through this lap, which it looks like he is. Is he going to speed into the pits in anger? I don't think so. Let's see. Watch the heli cam with Juan. Okay, let's watch the outboard. They've got a sector 3. Trying to do what he can. I don't think Juan knows how there's a position up. He doesn't look like he's really trying to push the car. Just looks like he's nonchalantly driving, just trying to not spin. I don't think he realizes there's a position up for grabs right now.
How would you know at that rate?
Well, it says for everybody that in the chat that a drive-through has been given, as Peter also hops into pits to go ahead and serve his pit stop. Diaz is out and still in P2?
He had a huge gap to the guys behind him.
That's not what it... Okay. So let's see where Peter comes out in the pits. Don is serving his pit stop. Last person to need to serve a pit stop this race.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt Peter a lot right there. Did he say, wait. Did Peter pit? Yeah, he did.
Yes, okay. Yes. He most definitely did. So that means we're going to have, that means Peter came out in P7, so he's behind Mike. That's going to be interesting for Peter to see where he ends up. John Crane, I don't know what happened with him. I just keep seeing that gap forever increase. Looked like he was not too far behind Don, but then 13-second gap out of nowhere. Let's see, with 10 minutes left in this race, I think 10 seconds will be kind of hard for Peter to overcome. But when you look at Middleton's last lap, it was by far slower than the laps Peter's been putting in. If he keeps his head down, he might be able to move back to P6. But you said that he's been doing a... you said he wins the championship regardless, correct?
If Peter gets P9 and Diaz gets P2, they tie.
Is that factoring in for the drop race?
No. I don't know what the drop race is.
A race that's dropped.
Well, I know what it is. I mean, I'm guessing this would be Peter's. This would be Peter's drop race right here. Oh, Peter just hit somebody.
Oh.
Someone's around. The Camaro's around.
That would
It'll be Fagan.
Fagan.
Fagan went around and Peter hit him.
404 student driver. I'm trying to get back on the track. Our stewards will have a moment looking at that and decide.
I don't think Peter could have done anything different there. Fagan just spun in front of him and Peter was there.
That's unfortunate. Meanwhile, looks like some gaps are starting to close. Maybe some people had some pace in their pocket. They were waiting until these last few laps to bring out two battles now under 2 seconds. Juan and Ilpo and Mike Middleton and Gavin Moore. I'm looking at how wet this is. Does he not have his wipers on?
Who?
Middleton.
You don't need them. Who needs windshield wipers anyway?
Me.
Nah.
I can barely drive when I can see. Middleton trying to do what he can to move up into the top 5 positions coming into P5, but it's going to be hard to make that overtake on Moore. But with that straight line speed, this back straight might be the place to get it done. I would say clearly having the better exit, but we can't really tell, so instead we'll hop on the rear of Moore's car and watch Middleton down that straight just slowly close in with that McLaren.
I'm trying to figure out the championship standings here.
That's a really good point, Luke. I did not think about that. If he's on bumper cam, he might not have rain affecting him.
Oh, true. One of those guys.
You mean smart?
How is that? Okay. Yeah, yes. Very smart.
I mean, I wouldn't drive in that view. It'd make me nauseous in VR. But I mean, sometimes you just need whatever advantage you can get.
Yep.
I feel like one thing we really, because all these races this season they've just been so action-packed, we haven't really had a lot of time to appreciate some of these great liveries. Like Moore's Busch Light livery. It's just, there's a lot of really good, clean liveries that we've seen. Mike Fazal, I believe is how you say his name. His livery has been, his livery is really good. Joel Dallas has a great livery. Joseph Chow has a great livery, but bad anime girl. As we're seeing Middleton trying to make a move on Moore. Moore not getting the exit he wants, but not extending it as much as possible. Middleton trying to see if there's anything he can make happen through the corner. Can see if he can make a move up the inside. Moore slots back in. Nothing really happening. Middleton sliding across the track. Trying to get every ounce of pace he can from this car. Maybe a little too much. Yeah, no, there's been some great liveries this season.
For sure. People did a really good job.
Are you looking at our point sheet when you're giving the standings or SGPs?
Yes.
SGP, okay.
Yeah. I'm getting
it.
a rough estimate.
Oh, Middleton looking to see if he can make a switchback happen. Bad camera choice. Down the pit straight, 4/10 in that McLaren. He has that slipstream. If there's ever a time for him to get it done, this is it, as Moore defends the inside. Middleton sending the car as much as he can. See, riding on board with Moore. Middleton looking to make the switchback. He has the exit, but he doesn't have the opportunity. Almost touching Moore. A little bit of a love tap right there. A racing incident. Nothing else the stewards would chalk it up to. Middleton trying to look for any opportunity he has, but he goes a little wide here. It's not working out. You know what's You know what's crazy?
A lot of things, Dave, but what's crazy?
Diaz has a drive-through. Or Diaz had a drive-through. Served it.
He did have a drive-through.
Still 10 seconds in front of P3.
That is pretty crazy. They're on a whole nother level today.
Meanwhile, Mercer putting in his fastest lap at a 27.4.
I'm pretty sure Peter is going to be the champion here.
Probably.
Because Diaz didn't do Brands Hatch.
But did Diaz do all the other races?
Yes, and he's done very well on all the other races.
Ooh, Middleton trying to see what he can get done into T1. A little bit of rear slippage, not getting the traction he needs. So trying to see if he can make something happen in the corner. This is really close racing between these two.
It's pretty good stuff, man. Always great to see, especially on a difficult track like this.
As Middleton looks to try to make a move, but nothing comes of it. We just got word from our head steward. Peter is 40 points clear of Diaz. So, in a few minutes, we will be watching people cross the line, and we will be watching our championship winner. We will be watching our championship winner take the crowning victory.
40 points clear as they stand.
As they currently stand.
On the final lap. Give it a final push.
Last lap.
See Middleton looking to see if he can make something happen down the pit straight. He knows he has one more lap to work with, but that's not a lot of time to make something happen with Moore, who's been taking every opportunity he can to make sure Middleton doesn't get an opportunity. Middleton trying to get every last 10th out of the lap.
They both slid around there.
Seems to have a very interesting line around that corner. As you see
that corner, you can take so many lines.
I've taken about 10 of them, and they're all wrong.
I think it's very car dependent. I'm not sure if there's a right line, or I think there's different lines for different cars. So how to carry your momentum and how it turns, especially in GT4.
Luke, I don't have too much faith in Nixon in that Maserati in the wet. Last time we saw that, he was not fighting for a podium. Let's see, down that pit straight, trying to do what they can. I'm kind of rooting for Middleton here.
I am too, because he's in the McLaren, and I gotta stick with my McLarens.
Oh, round the outside for T1.
Oh, it's gonna be a good run though. He's gonna have a run.
A little bit of a touch from Middleton. I think Moore tried to go for a little late block.
If I'm Middleton, I know I have the straight line speed. Just stay behind him in the air, and I try to outbrake him into the, I don't know what turn that is. turn after the big straight.
Yeah, but from that little love tap they had, it looks like Middleton might be a little angry right now with Moore.
I think he'll get back. I think he'll get back to him and have another shot. We'll see. The gap has increased though.
Yeah, I think driving when you're angry just it's kind of ruins everything for you. You start making a lot more mistakes, and that's why I think we're seeing this
Mercer's about to come around the final corner here, and it's been a very, very dominant day. He's done a very good job. No drive-throughs. One of the only guys to not do it.
As he's crossing the line, Mercer finishes the race. Fagan behind finishes in the last position, P12. See, we'll ride on board right now with. We'll go back to Middleton and Moore for now, and then we'll hop back with Diaz as he crosses the line for P2.
I think the battle's over. I don't think Middleton can get back to him in time. Blame it on the windshield wipers.
That's why you have to overtake in the Essies.
That gap's so big though, it's almost a second. Or it is over a second.
Well, it's too late for the Essies now. That's the beginning of the lap.
Yeah.
As we're on with Diaz, he's just looking at all this smoke, all this colored smoke and celebration, hating the fact that it's not for him. Coming across the line, finishing P2. Meanwhile, the next driver we have is Ilpo, who sees Jake Foucher right in front of him. Ilpo's coming across the line, P3, finishing out the podium positions, but Juan Carrez not too far behind in P4. Then back to the fight between Moore and Middleton as they're rounding the final few corners. And across the line, Moore is about to go. P5 and P6 for these two. Peter O'Brien, Don Devian, and John Crane, the last drivers on the lead lap. As he goes to cross the line, P7 for Peter. Don with a 20-point gap, just doing what 20-second gap, just doing what he can do to get this car to the line. In the meantime, Luke, if you would not mind putting in the race results for Mercer and Peter and Diaz so we can know where the championship standings ended up. Don crossing the line, P8. John Crane, last driver in the Camaro, my favorite car that has not shown up this season. Going through the final corner, last driver in this championship to finish a lap, or to finish their lap. And the championship is officially over, with Mercer winning the final race. I believe Peter O'Brien winning the championship, and a surprise podium from Ilpo.
Yeah, with a lot of drive-throughs, a lot of harsh conditions out there today, so they all did a really good job.
Well, let's go ahead and get some drivers in the commentators booth to come join us, hang out with us, and keep us company. How about Middleton?
Why not?
Mike Middleton, you are in the commentators booth. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. I think this is your first interview of the season. Happy to have you join us. That was quite the fight between you and Gavin Moore.
Yeah, it was great. Awesome defending on his behalf. I just couldn't get by him. Yeah, it was a blast.
How was it? How was driving in the rain around COTA?
It's fun. I like driving in the rain, so yeah. It's a bit tedious in the slower parts, but yeah, it's good fun.
Well, congratulations. Looks like you're throughout the championship. I've just seen you fighting car after car after car. Just constantly in battles. Seems like everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a lot of fun.
Do you know where you finished?
I have no idea. I haven't even checked since we began.
Do you have any questions for him, Carson?
I just gotta say, how does it feel to drive the best GT4 car on the grid? Nice McLaren.
I don't know if it's the best.
It's the best, Mike. It's the best.
It's the best in certain situations.
Oh, it's just the best all the way around, man. You and me and the McLaren would do great.
I've never driven it before, so I thought I would give it a shot. It was good. Good fun.
So,
Oh yeah.
So now that the season is over, which track or which combo would you say was the most enjoyable?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think this car at Bathurst was an awesome combo just because the McLaren's top speed. Unfortunately, I was too eager trying to pass early on in that race and pushed myself into the wall, so didn't get a chance to really see, but I think I probably could have had my best finish at that track with this car, yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it happens, it's racing.
That it is. That it is. Well, thank you for joining us this season. We hope to have some information posted for about next season relatively soon. And hope to see you there. I'm going to throw you back into the championship chat. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Awesome, thanks for putting us all together.
Not a problem. Not a problem. All that goes to Joe. I just commentated. All right, back into the championship chat you go. Peter O'Brien.
Yo.
Welcome to the commentators booth.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. I believe until it is not official yet, but I believe you are the inaugural GT4 season champion.
That's great to hear, Dave. It makes my god-awful race feel slightly better. I hope no one had to witness my 20 seconds of me spinning in a circle when I spun out.
That wasn't my next question. I was wondering what happened to you.
I went too wide in the first, or I guess the second corner, dipped a tire in the curb, lost the rear end, tried to save it, went into like a really long wide spin, and then thought, oh, 3TC is enough for me to hit the gas and not spin instantaneously. And then I spun like 3 times doing that and lost the gap I had, and then got a drive through. That is the only track I have ever racked up 6, well, I guess technically 7 warnings in an hour. So that was really cool. Thank you, Kunos, for wet track limits at COTA. But yeah, terrible race. I hated every minute of it. Other than the first 3 laps, it was terrible. I was in a massive gap the whole race. But
Well,
it is what it is.
Let's go back to before you had a huge gap. You and Mercer seem to be battling it out. What happened there?
Mercer and I started the race quite well. I wanted to try and overtake Diaz off the start and build a gap of my own, kind of the way he did when me and Mercer fought. Mercer was just way quicker than everyone tonight. I think he actually tried to make the car drive in the wet, which was probably a good idea, considering the Alpine is not a very... it's not easy to tune, but also usually you can just find a tune and run it, but it's not going to be great for everything. So I think the time he spent making a good wet tune was definitely worthwhile. Other than that, I don't know. I just didn't drive as well as him tonight. He was just definitely a lot better behind the wheel.
He seemed to have blistering pace. Every time I looked and I saw a new fastest lap, it was Mercer again and again and again.
Yeah. I was looking at the end of my first stint to try and compete with his lap times, and I was finally dipping down into the low 28s. And then the second half of the race, I was nowhere near him, so I didn't even bother looking at his lap times. But I looked after the race, and his fastest lap was like a 27.1, and I'm like, yeah, no, can't compete with that.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
just blistering fast. At the beginning, Diaz was faster, and then I think he just found it looked like T1 was the corner. He just found out how to hit it, and then just 5/10 off his time.
Yeah, there was and I mean, I don't want to diss and say that's how this track works, but COTA seems really, really technical across the whole thing, other than the 40-mile long straight. But if you're just better on the brakes, you're gonna make up time. He really knew how to do the third sector triple right-hander thingy. He knew how to hit that pretty well. He was gaining time on me through there every lap. He overall probably just practiced more and set up the car better for the race. So I'm not gonna take anything from him for that, but no, he was definitely just driving better tonight.
congratulations on winning the championship. I'm gonna put you back up in the championship chat. But
All right, thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate it.
But thanks for showing up. Thanks for putting in the work, and hope to see you again next season.
Thank you very much.
Jeremy Mercer, our race winner by a mile. How you doing?
All right, thank you.
So, in the beginning, we saw you're having a little battle out there with Peter. Walk us through that. Walk us through how you got that overtake.
Actually, I'm trying to think of what happened. Oh, okay, yeah, I do remember what happened with Peter. So at the beginning of the race, I got a little bit tangled up in T1, so I ended up back away from Diaz and Peter.
Mm-hmm.
But then coming into the end of the back straight, both Diaz and Peter way overshot the turn.
Right.
And it allowed me to get right up with both of them. In fact, I almost attempted a pass on Diaz right there, but I ended up settling for Peter, I believe. I think I got him there. And then from that point on, it was kind of be in the midst of Diaz, which makes it kind of hard to see your marks and a little hard to pass. But I was able to get some good laps and keep pressure on him.
One thing that confused us in the commentators booth, you were behind Diaz. I know it wasn't an hour, but it felt like a solid hour and a half. Just every lap you would be a second behind, 4/10 behind, a second behind, 4/10 behind. Did you just not want to go pit and try to undercut?
No, because the first thing is there's a chance of it going dry, so you don't want to. I didn't want to pit until at least the halfway mark where I knew it would be wet the whole time. Because if you pit for wet tires and then it goes dry, then you're kind of in a very bad situation. So go at least halfway. And I actually fueled to go most of the race, which makes you kind of heavy at the start, which is a little slower.
Right.
So my goal was instead to pressure Diaz, and if he has to pit before me, then I'm going to put in the laps.
Right.
And it ended up being that he ended up pitting right at the halfway mark. And then I had clear vision in front of me, and it became a lot easier to do good lap times. And also the car was getting lighter as well, which helped.
Speaking of lap times, I think you had the fastest lap by like a second and a half. It was crazy. Every time I saw a fastest lap, it was you by another few tenths. Right. Where did you find that pace?
I mean, COTA is a very technical track, so it's like over the course of the race, you just kind of experiment with things and you see your delta and you can see what's working and what isn't. And sometimes you just end up with time that you don't really know where it came from. But yeah, there's just a lot of time that is available in a lot of the turns. And so, whereas on a lot of tracks, it's easy to get close to the optimal lap time. At COTA, it's very difficult. And so even with that gap, there's still more time to be had.
Right. And I guess my final question, if Diaz would have extended it and y'all would have fought until the last bit of the pit window, do you think you would have been able to overtake him?
Maybe. I mean, if you take into account the fact that I believe he only fueled to go halfway, then we would have been equal on weight. I think that would have benefited me. And so I think I could have passed him then. If he was that fast with more weight, I probably would have gotten a little bit more urgent towards the end. But still, it's difficult to pass when you can't see very well. So I think I would have had to rely on a mistake from him probably.
Alrighty, before I put Mercer back in the championship race chat, Carson Schultz, do you have any questions for him?
No, you did great. You did great, Jeremy. I didn't hold you up this time, so there's always that.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
Congratulations on your race win. Well deserved. The final race of the inaugural season. And it's going to be your name and P1.
Thank you.
I'm going to drop you back in the championship chat. Alrighty. Carson, it is just me and you. I'm going to go ahead and Hello, Trackalicious. It's just me and you. Since we're about to end the stream, I'm gonna just go ahead and talk about what we're doing tomorrow. We will have the F3 Championship race at Dragon Trail, which is a Gran Turismo track. Tune in at the same time to watch the F3 battle. I've seen a lot of people run laps, and it should be a very competitive race tomorrow.
Oh, for sure. So many people have ran laps. The times are extremely competitive, and I think it's gonna be probably one of the funnest races we've done yet.
And you're also the second fastest on the leaderboard, so I'm sure you.
It's the first for
really
everything, dude. Yeah.
I'm going to sign up. Thank you again for joining me, Carson, and I hope to see everybody tomorrow. Adios.